Look at you. You're an old man now.
You're no hassling yourself anymore, Major. Our friend here showed me your sample. Suffice it to say.
Not here. Let's talk somewhere more private. Lou said we could use the back.
The Red Devils aren't exactly your average bar crowd.
Lou gave me the abridged
You can
version
see it in
of
their
what went
eyes.
down.
We don't
I
belong
can't
here.
thank you enough for taking care of all that.
Makes two of us.
I hope it ultimately didn't end up being too much trouble. Well, that's certainly not what I was expecting you'd have to go through. But thank you. I'm just glad you both came through intact. So, were you two able to get that workup together?
Got it right here. That sample? It's an exact match for the ones from Londinian.
Londinian. That's exactly what I was afraid of.
Not thrilled to be the bearer of that kind of news. That's for damn sure. So tell me you've got some kind of plan for that workup.
Well, right now, we've got more questions than answers. So I've been trying to figure out what it's gonna take to access our old Terrormorph data.
Good place to start. What'd you find?
It's in the archives.
The Armistice Archives? Doesn't that mean we'd be dealing with the Cabinet? And the Freestar Collective? And House Varun somehow? Guess we can kiss that approach goodbye.
I didn't think the Cabinet would be willing to hear us out either. But I called in some favors. They've agreed to hear us out on two conditions. One, they want to see this analysis you two have procured. And two, they want to discuss what happened on Tau Ceti. With both of us. Well, that's about the best news I've had all day. But before you commit, I want to make sure you know the whole story. Percival and I, we're not just researchers. We were military scientists, ran a division of the UC together that deployed aliens on the battlefield as weapons.
Place I was hiding out. That was our unit's home base.
After some early fits and starts at other facilities, the place eventually became the heart of UC xeno-warfare. A practice that's been banned ever since the armistice went into effect almost 20 years ago. And the UC military cut us loose for what we'd done. Well, it was during that assignment that the UC asked us to explore deploying Terrormorphs on the battlefield. The project never got off the ground, but the data our team gathered is now sitting in the archives, along with all the other information banned after the Colony War. Under the watchful eye of monitors from all the galactic factions still participating in regular politics. But if we can convince the Cabinet to help us access that data, it'll give us the tools we need to decipher what exactly this sample might mean. And hopefully, how to prevent more attacks like the one that spawned it. All right. I'm gonna go get this workup into the Cabinet's hands. I'll meet you out front of Mast in New Atlantis.
Good luck. You two are gonna need it.
Yeah. While we're here, let's swing by Centaurian so I can pick up some ammo.
Captain! Over here! The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. Though I was a bit caught off guard when the commander of the Vanguard asked me how things were going as I was headed up the elevator. Hadn't realized you were UC Navy this whole time. Suppose that makes us even then. Though, in the spirit of full disclosure, there is one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus, woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin, a title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come. He would have happily told you he was one of the greats. Ultimately, though, it didn't matter. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC. Military and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned. My areas of expertise are pretty specific, but messed up families are up there. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terrormorph project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They're deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous, which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise. Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terrormorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories: UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject. but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
That's quite the leap, Captain. Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, Terrormorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask how many deaths the cabinet requires to act. 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt, the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties. Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this Terrormorph seem at all alarming to you?
Just taking her word for it as well, then.
So it would seem. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
It doesn't matter if it can be weaponized or not. The archives need to remain sealed for now. There's no reason to rush into a decision of this magnitude.
That? I hadn't thought of that, Captain.
An excellent point indeed. The other powers would likely be much more inclined to work with us knowing that. Chief Diplomat.
That point is a good one. Very well, you have my agreement. The galaxy is lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to...
An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident? Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terrormorphs.
Terrormorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
Damn it. They're here. Now.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Rogan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Gonna take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming, and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain, I'm right behind you. Let's get down there.
rifle! Grab it! Now!
Stop! That's it! We're trying to with everything you've got! Bad luck for you! Thank you for what you did. We didn't want to hurt them. The way those people were acting, I've seen this before. They were under the Terrormorphs' influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terrormorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire, and keep that EM weapon at the ready. I'm not suggesting. It's documented behavior. The result of the projection, though, can vary wildly. Some folks just shrug it off. Others hallucinate. And some lose control altogether. They'll lash out at anyone around them, but still be aware while they're doing it. Those cases, you'll either need to knock them out with EM fire, or free them by killing the Terrormorph. Let's do it.
Nat's unlocked. Please, do it.
We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the land, barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over anymore. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can. Guess they weren't kidding about you two. Universe put the right people in the right place. Certainly doesn't feel like it. I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been here.
Just glad we could rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terrormorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
My partner's all right. He's getting stitched up instead of zipped up, thanks to you.
How the hell do Terrormorphs...
That's a relief to hear. Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, officers were unprepared
Ah,
for what
there
happened
you
at
are.
the spaceport.
I believe we
I
have
intend to
some
correct
things
that.
we should discuss. Captain? Hadrian? It would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today. As well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terrormorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have some respect, will you? That's the president of the colonies you're addressing.
No, you two were in the right. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terrormorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. We're dismissed.
Security officer.
I'm gonna go check out the Chief Engineer Kulkarni. Start getting a plan together for that data.
A lot of calls.